Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, I want to say it's another gorgeous day. It kind of is, but it's about to rain, so I don't necessarily think it's going to be an amazing day. And that means I've got to get through this video before the rain starts. And for those wondering about fluffs, I've got some right out of the gate for you. They're right in the water here. I don't know if you can see, but there are a couple of ducks just kind of swimming around there, having their morning breakfast. So come along with me for my morning walk and let's talk some news. So first up on the docket, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Kenji NX. Now for those who may not be aware, Kenji NX is a fork of Ryujinx. And they say this fork is not a Ryujinx revival project. It aims to be a middle ground between Green Dev's Ryujinx fork, which is Ryu Bing, and the more preservative Ryujinx mirror fork. It brings over many of the front-facing features from the aforementioned forks, with additional contributions from Keaton the Bot and others. And I've received a lot of messages saying this emulator is shutting down, but based on what I see here, it's not. So this message is right from Keaton, and Keaton says, just a heads up, but I'll be deleting my GitHub repo soon. This is a protective measure to hopefully prevent a DMCA, mainly due to the sudden popularity of the Android build. Development will continue on Ryu Bing's Git server. So it seems that Kenji NX is alive and well and just changing locations. And speaking about DMCAs, next up we're talking about Manga Dex. Now this information comes to me via Twitter, and if you're interested in it and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. So the tweet says, popular manga reading site Manga Dex was hit by hundreds of DMCA takedown notices for a wide range of series, unlicensed too, from many major Japanese publishers. Many series were removed from the site. This follows another major DMCA incident related to manga on Reddit in recent days. It seems that the Japanese publishers or the third-party companies they task with it suddenly show unprecedented harshness against manga scanulation. I'm guessing if you're a manga fan and you use Manga Dex, this is probably not good news for you. But moving on and switching from arguably negative news to arguably positive news and talking about Windows emulation on Android with not Win Now, but Winlator. And it's being reported here that Winlator may be continuing on with development. Bruno has potentially returned to Winlator. Someone over on Reddit with a very keen eye spots that Bruno recently updated his Winlator repo, removing his pause notice on the README and other commits, potentially indicating that he has returned to developing Winlator. If he has, this would be a huge win for Winlator. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. Next up, we're switching from something that is possibly continuing on with development to something that is definitely shutting down, and that something is big. We're talking about Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. If you're a fan of this game, you're not going to be a fan of this announcement. So this announcement comes right from Call of Duty Warzone Mobile Twitter account, the official one, and they say, "We deeply appreciate your dedication and passion for Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Going forward, we will be streamlining the scope of the game. This decision was made after careful consideration of various factors, and while we're proud of the accomplishment in bringing in Call of Duty Warzone to mobile in an authentic way, it unfortunately has not met our expectations with mobile-first players like it has with PC and console audiences. As a result, we will no longer be delivering new seasonal content and gameplay updates to the mobile version. Effective immediately, players will no longer be able to purchase Call of Duty points or black sell using real currency in Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Sunday, May 18th, 2025 will be the last day the game can be downloaded from Google Play and Apple's App Store, and social features across both mobile platforms will be retired. Players who have the game installed before Monday, May 19th will still have access to the game with continued cross-progression of shared inventories using existing content, and servers with matchmaking for online play. So there you have it. Probably not great news for a whole lot of people out there, maybe not a whole lot of people who are enjoying Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. The game obviously didn't meet their expectations, and because of the, lack of popularity of the game or lack of people spending in the game, they're just shutting it down. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. And speaking about shutting stuff down, next up we're talking about Epic versus Apple. And this information comes right from Epic about Fortnite on the App Store, and it seems that Apple has blocked Fortnite from heading to the App Store. So we talked about this one the other day, yesterday, on how the app was taking forever to be evaluated by Apple and how there were clones of Fortnite already on the App Store absolutely fine. Tim Sweeney was jokingly pointing them out. Well, it turns out that Apple has just flat out blocked Fortnite here. This is a tweet right from Fortnite. Apple has blocked our Fortnite submission, so we cannot release to the US App Store or to the Epic Game Store for iOS in the European Union. Now, sadly, Fortnite on iOS will be offline worldwide until Apple unblocks it. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is probably not great for Epic. They're probably losing quite a bit of money by not having Fortnite on the App Store and having that active player base. And I also think that this is horrible for Apple's reputation. They're just seemingly very petty here, and also doing whatever they can to not comply with court orders and, I guess, the law. On VGC, there's a quote here that I think is very interesting. They say, earlier this month, a US judge ordered Apple to stop forcing the 27% commission and using its prompts, stating that it had violated a 2021 injunction and that VP Alex Roman had outright lied under oath, meaning the company could now face criminal contempt charges. All of that for, I just dropped my phone. All of that for Epic versus Apple. And just as a heads up here, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, the things I do for YouTube. And speaking about outright lies, next up we're talking about Nintendo, and it seems that Nintendo may have made some accidental statements regarding VRR. So here is the latest statement from Nintendo. Nintendo Switch 2 supports VRR in handheld mode only. The incorrect information was initially published on the Nintendo Switch 2 website, and we apologize for the error. Now, I'm pretty sure when the Nintendo Switch 2 was revealed and the games were revealed, we took a look on Nintendo's website and noticed that, yeah, VRR was mentioned on certain games, but not on others. And it seemed to be very inconsistent. But it's confirmed now that VRR is available in handheld mode only on the Switch 2. And we've got no word or confirmation if it will ever come to the dock. I'm assuming it would. Maybe there's a technical limitation that it can't. I don't know. But at this point in time, if you're looking for VRR on the Switch 2, only in handheld mode. And speaking about apologies of sorts, next up we're talking about Valve. So there's a story here that someone sent in their Steam Deck for repair to Valve, and I guess the repairs took quite a bit of time. And Valve, instead of just leaving the person high and dry, actually apologized and made it up to them by giving them a free game. Now, from my understanding, it wasn't just any game that Valve offered. They offered the person a list of games and they got to choose. And they ended up choosing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is a pretty popular and highly rated game. So overall, I would say this is a good story for Steam Deck support, and I wish more companies did this. If you are interested in checking out the story yourself, again, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. So the article is over on Reddit. It's a Reddit post. It's titled, Steam Support Really is the GOAT. Someone comments here, Steam support always top notch. And someone else comments, at times I really wish I would run into something that is worth contacting Steam support, solely just to experience a proper customer support at work. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. I don't have a lot of experience with Steam support, but I do with one game in particular, and that's GTA 5, which I tried to refund after some Linux controversies with the game. And well, it turns out I couldn't get my refund because I had a couple of 100 hours plugged into the game. So there's that. Anyways, it's always interesting to read people's comments here, and I am very curious to see if others have had good or bad experiences. And speaking about experiences, next up here we're talking about 8BitDo, or 8BitDo, or subscribe to Mr. Sujano, depending on how you wanted to pronounce that one. Anyways, 8BitDo has generated quite a bit of talk online because of a couple of new controllers they've just released, or just unveiled rather. And they are all button fight sticks. If you're a fan of leverless controllers, if you're a fan of stuff like the Hitbox, you might be a fan of these things. So it's officially called the 8BitDo all-button arcade controller, and there's two different versions. One's for Switch and PC, and it kind of looks like it's been inspired by the NES, very similar to other 8BitDo products. And the other one is for Xbox Series S, X, and also PC, and that one I think looks a little bit better. It's black with green neon around the buttons. It's interesting here because they're priced differently. One is priced at a very attractive $89.99, and that's for the Switch and PC one. And the Xbox one, I guess you have to pay the Xbox tax for, and that's priced at $99.99. I do say it looks better, but functionally it seems like it's worse. So the Switch and PC version has 3 ways you can connect: Bluetooth, 2.4G wireless, or USB-C. And the Xbox version only has 2 ways to connect: 2.4G or USB, no Bluetooth. So if you're trying to use this one on Android, the Xbox One, I would say, is probably not near ideal. And that's very interesting. They'd remove Bluetooth, but also jack up the price. I guess the prices for the LEDs around the buttons, I don't know here. And speaking of the buttons, both of them, they feature hot swappable Kale switches. And I would say that's a very, very good thing. It's kind of surprising to see that in these things given the price. But I would say the pricing of these 8-bit DOS sticks will be extremely attractive to a lot of people, especially if you're looking at considering a leverless controller. Next up here, I'm just headed back to my campsite because it is raining. I'm getting caught in the rain and I don't want to damage the camera here. The microphone is underneath my shirt. Some people ask me what that DJI little square is here. It's actually a magnet. So the microphone is on the inside of my shirt, and that's to help cut out wind noise and exterior noise here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. But the mic is absolutely fantastic. Highly recommended if you're into Bluetooth mics or wireless mics. Definitely check out the DJI Mic 2. So I'm back on the campsite. It is raining. It's raining even more now. I fortunately got in before the rain really started coming down. And I'm underneath a bit of a canopy here to cover me. And unfortunately, the mosquitoes have also taken cover under this canopy as well. I just can't win. Anyways, next up, we're talking about Mesen. And Mesen just got a brand new update to version 2.1. I'm assuming that most people watching this video know what Mesen is, but if you don't, it is a very good multi-system emulator. Version 2.0, they say, released a little over 2 years ago, and they say here for version 2.1, a lot has been improved or added since the first release of 2.0.0 over 2 years ago. They've added in support for Game Boy Advance, Game Gear, Master System, including support for the SG-1000 and ColecoVision, WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color. On top of that, because yes, there's more, accuracy improvements for all consoles, various bug fixes, Mac OS support. There's also new features and improvements for the debugger, console-specific improvements, for example, for the NES, SNES, PC Engine, and Game Boy, and even more here. This is a huge release from Mesen. If you're interested in it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom if you wanted to learn more about it. And speaking about Mac support, last up here we're talking about Sega Saturn emulation with the relatively new and arguably relatively exciting Sega Saturn emulator, Ymir. Did I pronounce that right? I mean, I mispronounced it a bunch of times, and people have corrected me in the comments. I think I got it right. I'm horrible at pronunciations in general, if you haven't realized. Anyways, here, Ymir got a brand new update you might be excited about. So at the time of filming, Ymir version 0.1.3 is the latest update. And they say here that this is a more substantial release packed with new features, improved usability, and bug fixes, many of which requested by you. And they say right here, Mac OS users rejoice. Ymir is now available for both Intel and Apple Silicon Macs. Taking a look at the changelog, and this is a pretty darn big release. Now, it's not necessarily perfect. This emulator is still, I wouldn't say early on in development, but it's still fairly fresh. But they have added stuff like full screen mode with Alt and Enter. If you are interested in Sega Saturn emulation, it may be worth learning about Ymir here, because this latest changelog is, I would say, very impressive. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Unless you count the 2 ducks at the beginning of the video, and I'm glad I filmed them because it's pouring rain now, and well, I would have been soaked trying to get any sign of fluff in this video. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.